All right, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Have you ever stopped and thought, maybe that standard advice about money, the whole good job, save up thing, maybe it doesn't quite fit how you see financial freedom?
hmm
Well, today we're kind of pushing back on that. We're taking a deep dive into a book that really shook things up for a lot of people. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It came out back in '97, but wow, it still resonates.
It really does. And what's so compelling right from the start is how he frames the whole thing. It's built around these two father figures in his life.
Yeah, the rich dad and the poor dad.
Exactly. So the poor dad, that was his actual father, very educated, high up government job, really valued, job security, pensions, the traditional path.
Okay.
And then there's the rich dad. This was his friend's father, more of an entrepreneur and investor. He didn't have the same level of formal education, but he focused heavily on financial literacy, on investing, and specifically on, well, building assets.
That's the core, isn't it? And that's really what we want to unpack in this deep dive, pulling out those key insights from that contrast he sets up.
Right.
Things like why acquiring assets, things that put money in your pocket, is so much more important than collecting liabilities. Kiyosaki makes this really stark point, like even your big family home
Yeah, the mortgage.
can actually be a liability if it just costs you money every month instead of generating income. We also want to explore that idea of making money work for you instead of you just constantly working for money. And frankly, the risk of not understanding this stuff, the danger of financial illiteracy.
Definitely. The goal here is really to maybe spark a shift in how you think about finance altogether.
So what does that actually mean, making money work for you? How does he explain that?
Well, the book basically argues that wealthy people don't primarily rely on a salary. They don't just trade their time for a paycheck in the same way. They set things up so their money itself starts generating more money. So you need to understand concepts like cash flow, literally how money moves into and out of your accounts.
Right.
And passive income, earning money without having to actively work for it hour by hour once the initial investment or setup is done. And often that involves some form of entrepreneurship. It really challenges that idea that a steady job is the only way.
It makes you question where real security comes from, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And another thing that really jumped out at me, it's quite a bold claim, is that practical financial education might actually be more valuable than, say, advanced academic degrees.
That's a controversial one for some.
Yeah. But his point is less about your salary figure and more about what you do with the money once you have it.
Yeah.
How effectively you manage it, how you grow it.
So it's about building those assets he talks about, maybe rental properties, bringing in cash each month, or stocks paying dividends, or even building a small business, things that generate ongoing income.
Exactly. Instead of just accumulating more things that cost you money, like car payments or credit card debt, that, he argues, is the path to real long-term freedom.
It really flips the script on what many of us we taught growing up. You have to remember, though, this isn't like a textbook giving you step-by-step investment plans.
No, not at all.
It's fundamentally a mindset book. Its real power is in opening your eyes to different possibilities, showing that financial independence can exist outside that traditional 9-to-5 grind. It's meant to inspire you to think differently about wealth.
So tying this all together then, what's the relevance for you listening? Maybe you're just starting your career, or you're still a student thinking about the future. Maybe you dream of starting a business, or perhaps you just feel stuck living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, how does this apply?
Well, these ideas are really powerful, regardless of where you are. The key takeaways Kiyosaki hammers home are: focus on building those income-producing assets, prioritize learning about money, practical financial education, maybe even over just stacking degrees, and fundamentally shift your goal towards making money work for you.
It's that shift from being an employee of money, basically, to becoming its master, investing so it grows even when you're not actively working.
Precisely. And maybe that leads us to the final thought we want to leave you with today, just something to chew on.
Okay.
How might your life genuinely change if you really embrace that shift? If your main focus wasn't just working for money, but actively figuring out how to make money work for you, what kind of unconventional paths, what new possibilities for freedom might open up if you started looking through